Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Tishay, and in today's video we're going to be discussing hot topics and major highlights of Baddies West newly released episode Messy Bestie. So if this is something you're interested in, if you're ready and eager to get the tea, as well as some kind of clarification on what's happened and why it happened, please go ahead to smash the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, share and support the channel, and yeah, let's just move on to the next gossip room. Okay, so the first thing about this episode that I know a lot of people might have been confused about is, actually the beginning, the first scene of this episode, which was, the argument during supper between Tommy, Biggie, and of course Stunner. Now, if you recall, or if you had seen my previous video, you know that the last point we stopped at was Stunner basically requesting for a fight from both Biggie and Tommy. Now, yeah, this was a little bit confusing and shocking for the audience, especially me. It's not like I didn't know that these guys had like some kind of feud earlier on, but I was thinking that as at that point in time everything would have or must have died down or died out between Stunner and Tommy, but obviously that wasn't the case because Stunner was ready to go for another round with Tommy. Now I'm here to basically just clarify and let you guys in on why Stunner wanted a round 2 with Tommy. Now, apparently, during Stunner's testimonial, she basically stated that the reason why she requested for a second round with Tommy was because Tommy was kind of instigating, right? And, advising, just basically giving sideline comments to Biggie, as at when they were at dinner, right? So basically she was just advising Biggie and trying to be a mediator, according to Stunner. So that was what triggered her to request for a fight again with Tommy. Now, after that whole situation between Stunner, Tommy, and Biggie, it kind of died out because, first of all, Tommy wasn't even responding to Stunner. Stunner, definitely was going to scream at the top of her voice as she usually does. But, she didn't necessarily get any response. Maybe she did get like some, response from Biggie, but, Tommy was just quiet and basically waiting for action. But of course, that didn't happen because I'm guessing because of the security and all of that, and also because of, the whole environment. So as at that point in time, Tommy was like, you know what? We're just going to keep things cute, and then when they go home they can now settle whatever beef they had. And that was how that whole conversation ended. Now, after all the ladies had settled down, Biggie was throwing some mad stares towards Stunner that made Stunner to respond, asking her why she was staring at her like she was ready to bite her and stuff. And it was at this point in time that Biggie felt the need to call Stunner fake for reasons best known to her, and Stunner kind of just like responded to that, saying that Biggie was the one fake because when the cameras were on was the only time Biggie spoke Spanish, because Biggie on a normal day didn't speak Spanish, that she used English all through. And this was, if you ask me, a little bit funny and also quite interesting to know, because I did feel like whatever persona Biggie exuded in front of the cameras was the same persona behind cameras, but according to Stunner that wasn't the case. The next scene we're going to dwell on is the scene where the girls were in the bus on their way to the Phoenix Club, and the girls were kind of separated again, and this time around Natalie decided to spend some time in Stunner's section. And basically, a lot was said, but basically it was more like an advice from Rolly to Stunner, just basically letting her know that, she needed to enjoy the experience, and she was not happy about the fact that Stunner wasn't really, enjoying the experience because of, the whole drama and everything. And Stunner, in response to that, was like, whatever happened amongst the girls was basically, it's basically stemmed from disrespect. Now, over to the other section, that had Biggie and Lo, and a couple others. Lo was also basically advising Biggie as well, saying that Biggie exuded boss energy and needed to just stick to that. She didn't necessarily always have to respond to peasants and stoop down to their level. That she should just keep sticking to her boss energy, because that's what she sees Biggie as, basically. And Biggie responded to that, saying that yeah, London was right. And if you ask me, in my opinion, I actually am in support with Lo, because I feel like in as much as Stunner is quite disrespectful, if you ask me as well, and not necessarily the type to listen to people or embrace criticism. I feel like Biggie also kind of encouraged that whole pettiness, because there were certain times I felt like Biggie would have just looked away and not responded. But then maybe it's because she's very emotional, and maybe it's because she really can't stand Stunner. But at the same time, I feel like all of that whole catty experience that she had with Stunner would have been very much avoided if she had just, like Lo said, stuck to her boss energy and just ignored the peasants. Now, for this next scene, the reason why I'm talking about it is because of something I actually noticed that I felt was a little bit weird and out of place. Now, so the girls finally arrived at the club in Phoenix, and everybody performed. Now, before the whole performance even started, something happened. Broly kind of scolded at the fans to back off, because according to Rolly in her testimonial, she noticed that a fan was being choked and was actually crying. Now, Rolly decided to step in so that that fan could have some air. What I noticed that was out of place, if you ask me, was at the points when Rolly was actually screaming for the fans or crowd to back off. Someone, they didn't even show who. It might have been the zoo security or the producer or whoever it was, but someone kind of I would use the word snatched the mic from from Rolly. It seemed like the person didn't appreciate Rolly doing that. But yeah, that was something I noticed, and I was like, I felt like I should bring it to you guys notice, because I was like, was that necessary? Because I mean I even saw the disbelief in Rolly's face after the mic was snatched from her. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this particular scene in this episode. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. All right, so over to the last scene of this episode, which has the highest highlights. The girls finally boarded the bus on their way to their Portland house. It seemed like they had just arrived or landed from the PJ in Portland, and the Baddies West bus was ready to convey them to their Portland house. So all the girls were in the bus, separated as well. This time around, Sean, Natalie, Tommy, and some other girls were at the back, whilst Kat, it was three girls in front, Kat, Stunner, and I can't remember who the third person was. But yeah, first conversation that was had amongst the girls was about DJ Sky's ass, trying to confirm whether or not her ass was real, because it did seem like a lot of girls, majority of the girls had a lot of good things to say about her ass being soft and all of that. And there was this argument about whether or not that ass was real. And of course, Sean, who is supposedly her bestie, called it out as fake. And she decided to, what, Sky is right over there, let's call her in and get conclusions from her. And they did just that. And when Sky came in, she definitely pulled down, allowed them feel on it, and basically confirmed that her ass was very much real, which got me thinking hello Sean, the last time we checked, you're supposed to be her bestie, so if you don't know her ass is real, what's up with that? You guys really friends though? But yeah, that's just by the side. Now over to the main tea, the piping hot tea. Apparently Natalie and Sean and Tommy were just vibing, drinking and talking, and conversation about performance came up. Sean mentioned she wanted to go first again, and Natalie felt some type of way about that, saying that she wanted Sean to go last instead. Now, according to Sean, she didn't want that, so Sean was not pleased about that. Basically, Sean said she wanted to go first and she was going to go first, and Natalie was like, the reason why she wanted Sean to go last was because Sean was always fond of leaving them after her performance. And Sean kind of responded to that, saying that the reason why she does that is because she has other I wouldn't say businesses, but she has other things to do after the show. And also she has her nigga to check up on, right? Now, Tommy kind of like sided with Sean on this one, because according to Tommy, she was like, you know what, girl, make sure you go out and get all your bags, right? Don't allow the show stop you. And I was like, okay. I felt some type of way about Tommy. I mean, yes, it's actually like, a positive advice, but then I'm not sure that it was, that was the right time to say that, especially knowing that things had already started getting awkward between Natalie and Sean. But, that's just by the way. Now, the next issue, or the next thing that, kind of like tensed up the whole moment was when, Sean was trying to drink, and Natalie kind of like, collected her drink and basically told her that she wanted to hold it for Sean. But, it was all jokes. It was all, she was laughing when she did it. But, Sean wasn't finding that funny. And basically, the response Sean gave to that action was that Natalie should stop playing. Right? And, this response didn't sit well with Natalie. After Sean made that comment, Natalie got up and started walking away, and basically started throwing light tantrums, right? And once again, before even Natalie got up and walked away or started walking away, Tommy once again made a comment saying, it's her drink, give it back to her. So basically, I get that Tommy was trying to be like the mom of the situation, and I'm not even trying to say this to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying that I feel like those side comments, or those siding comments, was kind of like instigating the whole situation. But like I said, this is just Baddie's side, and it's just in my opinion. So Natalie has gotten up, she's throwing tantrums, and at some point Sean was trying to make her understand that she does certain things and keeps getting away with it, even when it's displeasing to a lot of people, and that's why she has to call it as it is when immediately after it happens. And it was at this point that Natalie decided to let her know that Sean, you've also done a lot of things that I've had to look away from, right? And Sean was like, mention them, give an instance, and that was when Natalie decided to go in on a comment that Sean made about her age, basically saying that there was a time she complained about her aching knees, and Sean was like, yeah, because you're old, bitch. And basically Natalie was like, that whole comment didn't sit well with her and all of that, and it was from there a whole argument started. Sean was like, yeah, okay, basically Natalie was like, that comment was hurtful to her, and Sean basically responded saying that she told her some real ass shit. And I was like, wow. But yeah, it graduated from that to Natalie getting angry about Sean not being remorseful for that comment. And at some point the guards had to separate Sean and Natalie. Sean basically had to stay in the section she was in, and Natalie went over to the other section that had Stunner. Now, after everything had kind of died down, Natalie decided to go on live, basically to advertise, the ladies' presence in Portland, because it seemed like they had a club, appearance very much later that evening or so. And, while she was at it, Sean felt the need to leave her section to go over to Natalie's section. And she even had to request for Natalie to tell the guys to allow her in, and Natalie actually did that. And when Sean came in, Sean immediately responded to the questions that were being asked to her on live, and basically that was when Sean decided to be petty. She immediately went in on Natalie playing, right? Natalie playing, and she basically talking about being disrespected and all of that. And Natalie, for me, it did seem like Natalie was trying so hard to avoid the whole situation, because she kept ignoring all the advances and everything, all the comments that Sean was making, and just moving away. But Sean just kept poking. And if you ask me, Natalie did a good job ignoring Sean to the best of her capability. Because I don't know how someone leaves you in a section because of how you're acting, or what you're saying, and then you feel the need to leave that section and come all the way to this person's section to continue from where you stopped. Like, it was really unnecessary and uncalled for, if you ask me, from Sean. Now, for Sean, in her defense, she said she felt the need to do that because if she had let it slide, Natalie would continue disrespecting her and playing with her. But for the fact that Natalie had diffused the whole situation by walking away, and went on live to bring back good vibes and good energy, and you still felt the need to come back to continue where you stopped, I was like, hell no, that was really childish of Sean, in my opinion. But yeah, after that whole situation of Natalie ignoring Sean, it really did get on Sean's nerves, to the extent that Sean kind of lightly smacked Natalie on live, and that's when all hell broke loose. And you already know, once Natalie gets to that 100 level, that's where she's gonna stay. So she started scolding and shouting, and that was when she decided to bring out her EP card, asking for the whole ride to stop, and asking for Sean to be taken out of her bus. And it was a little bit funny for me, because I saw Sean immediately withdraw. Like, you came with fire, and when the fire was finally lit, you withdrew. Like, it was really funny for me, because after Natalie got on that 100 level, I saw Sean go back to her section, sitting down. Natalie even had to step out the bus and ask the guards to bring out Sean. But for some reason, Sean didn't want to come outside. I was like, okay, you started this fire, but now here you are all the way at the back. So it was really, really funny, if you ask me. But yeah, let me know what you think about this whole situation. Do you think Sean had every right to do what she did because Natalie decided to ignore her bullshit? Or do you think Natalie didn't have to ignore Sean and should have just addressed the situation, continuously addressed the situation, as it was arising? So let me know what you think in the comment section.